What is up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes catching up with one of our favorites, Frankie Edgar. We know him from the MMA world, a former UFC lightweight champ and title contender at featherweight and bantamweight as well. Now he's doing his thing at Bare Knuckle, was the recent announcement. BKFC 82 taking place on October 4th underneath that Perry and Stevens mega main event. He'll be taking on Jimmie Rivera, two Northeast guys, right? Frankie, how long have you two known each other?
Yeah, I've known Jimmy for a while. He's a buddy of mine, and yeah, I had him on my podcast not too long ago talking about doing the bare knuckles. So here we are, a few months later, and we're gonna be squaring off.
Did you know that matchup was possible when you were talking about it, or were you just wondering out loud?
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. They just asked me to fight. I kind of said yes, and then he ended up being the opponent.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to think it over, or was it a slam dunk? Were you already getting that itch?
It was just all kind of a perfect storm. You know what I mean? The timing, my body feels good, the money's good. I did say yes before the opponent, but I do think the opponent's good too. Um, yeah, I wasn't this wasn't on the horizon for me, so yeah, it just kind of worked out.
What if a naysayer were to say, "Yeah, man, these guys, they don't make as much in MMA, so they need to feed their families." Is there something to that, or was this all competitive juices, or is just the money combined with the competitive juices that made you come
Yeah,
out
I'm
of it?
I'm a fighter, and it's definitely competitiveness in me. You see that I call them naysayers or haters or whatever you want to call them, always saying stuff like, "Oh, he's poor, he needs to fight," and this and that, and that's definitely not the case. But the money does make it worth it. That's for sure.
Mhm. The family's on board. The coaches. Did anyone have any pushback at all that made it not be that the slam dunk of an answer? I mean, you're the answer, and you're the one that ultimately decides. But I'm sure you have a circle.
Yeah, my family, my close family, definitely was against it for sure. My wife, my kids, my parents.
Oh,
But I talked them into it, I guess you could say. At least enough for them to give me the okay. I don't know if I got their blessing, but I got the okay.
oh wow. Okay. And what was it? Just from there and health issue, or they don't even want to see that bloody, gruesome sport with no gloves?
Yeah, they think I don't need it. But then we don't need to do this because it's not, a. It's not like I said. I'm scratching, I'm searching for pennies or anything like that under the couch. So it's not that I need it. But it's just I don't know. They get who I am though too. At least my wife. My kids had no chance. They got born to me. They didn't get to pick. My wife kind of knew what she got into when she signed up for this a while back. So she kind of knows the type of person I am, and I'm sure this isn't too surprising for her. But she
Uh,
still don't like it.
Frankie, I've heard you talk about bare knuckle for a while now. Is there a particular fight or a card that you kind of made you fall in love with it and make you think I'd like to do this one day?
The guy. I think he's the 45-pound champion now. Kai, I think his name is. I think I watched him fight, and the way he was using his wrestling and clinch work, I was like, wow, this is a totally different approach to striking. And obviously once Eddie went over there and had success, and I went to a couple of Eddie's fights, that's when I was like, all right, this is definitely something I could see myself doing. But again, I didn't seek this out. They sought me out, and timing was right.
You said something that kind of got me thinking when you were talking about your body feels good. When you think about BKFC, I think maybe once the fight happens, it could be one of the more dangerous sports, but leading up to it, not as bad, right? Like when you consider MMA and the preparation that goes through, what your body has to go through just to get you there, it sort of evens out, right? I mean, am I far off there?
No, I think you're 100% right. This the training for a bare knuckle fight is not as intense as MMA. I'm not wrestling. I'm not doing any jiu-jitsu. It's also 2 minute rounds, not 5 minute rounds, or even 3 minute rounds. Or you understand what I'm saying. But yeah. So that definitely makes the lead up a lot less. Beating on your body. And I mean, the fight's gonna have its way, but at least going up to it, I'm it's been fun. It's actually been fun.
We've talked to a lot of people that have done this before, even pro boxers that have come over and done this, and they all have different mindsets in their preparation, things they do. Who have you leaned on for advice, and what are some of the things that you think maybe are outside the box that you're doing for preparation here that you wouldn't have done in mixed martial arts?
Well, Eddie Alvarez, obviously, he's a good friend of mine, and he's going to be in my corner for this fight and all that stuff. So, obviously, leaning on him, he has quite a bit of experience in that BKFC ring. And yeah, I mean, nothing. I mean, hitting without gloves, doing pad work without gloves, bag work without gloves, kind of just wearing wraps, kind of get used to, not having any protection on my hands. That's kind of the thing I'm doing. It's tough to spar. You can't spar with no gloves, and even MMA gloves is tough to spar with and get out of there without getting, banged up too much. So you still got to spar with the big gloves and headgear and all that stuff. But as far as drilling and clinch work, you could, take the gloves off for that stuff.
You getting the band back together? You're going to be with Mark Henry for this one?
100%. 100%. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do it without him.
Where were you when you got the call or text, and what was your reaction at that moment?
Well, it took a little bit to get to it. I got someone reached out to me through a DM. I kind of I thought they were talking about coming, getting fighters on my podcast originally, and then he kind of threw like a question like, "Hey, would you want to do something?" And I kind of ignored it a little bit. I kind of knew what he was implying, but ignored it. And then he followed up with another question, and that's kind of when the ball started rolling, I guess. And then from there, Ali took over, and we got it done.
You get to do it in your home state. That's another plus.
That was one of the that's definitely one of the factors why I said yes to this.
Yeah, no, I like it. Hey, just to have a little fun, Corey Anderson was our previous guest, and he shared some interesting anecdotes from when he was younger. I don't know if you know this, but at 18, he was over 300 pounds. He didn't do good in school. He was a class clown. What were you like, I guess, in school? Were you always kind of a hard worker, or those that went to school with you, would they have portrayed you doing something else,
No. I was this guy. I was this guy. I mean, maybe not in the classroom. I got good enough grades to get into college, all that stuff. Made sure I wanted to go to school because I wanted to wrestle, not so much for the academics, I guess. But I was one of the hardest workers in that wrestling room every year of my life.
I don't know if you and your friends were ever goofing when you were younger and said, I'd like to punch a cop one day. You get to do that because that's what Jimmie Rivera does.
I do know that. Listen, Jimmy's my buddy. I have many cops as students, so we'll leave it at that. But it's not a bad thing.
Who will they be cheering for, the cop or the sensei?
Oh, hey, come on, they they better stick with their sensei.
Good stuff, Frankie. All right, man. Hey, no more comedy, right? We saw you do a set once in Las Vegas.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. No one's asked me yet. I'm not one to seek out, but if someone asks me, I don't know. Who knows? Just like this scenario.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Hey, always great to catch up with you. And we'll definitely be tuning in. That's a great card they're putting together. BKFC 82, early October, folks. Thanks, Frankie. Talk to you soon.
All right, brothers. Be good, guys. Take care.